Okay,
Just
welcome
want to be
to
aware of
the look
Iran
ahead
security
for the
forces
week.
say they
It is
discovered
Monday,
Israeli.
the 16th of June. And we've had a bit of a weekend of it. Friday, of course, was the start of aggression between Israel and Iran then retaliating over the weekend on Saturday night against Israel with what has been the impressive hypersonic arsenal of missiles, which apparently the Iron Dome is not equipped to handle. One of these two tools is moving at close to the speed of sound, and the other one is running on Windows XP. So that's kind of all you need to know there about that. But yeah, looking at the nitty gritty and looking at the report, we're looking at really Iran being the third largest producer in the world of oil, and really a lot of people talking about, well, what does this mean? The closure, potential closure of the Straits of Hormuz, very frequently talked about over the years, seldom ever, if at all, happening. The last time it was actually closed was in 1972. And then in 1988, we had Operation Praying Mantis, where it was potentially going to get closed, and the US went in there. I think Tom Cruise was in there with Goose, and they flushed him out and kept the straits open. It's kind of an interesting little skirmish happened there over one day in I think it was, yeah, 1988. So um, I don't think they're going to close the straits unless there is an acute escalation of violence and military action in the area. What we need to be tracking here for this is that the US does have quite a lot of hardware en route to. Sorry, there's something happening here on oil. Uh, or my charts just okay. Something's happening in oil here, guys. I got the squawk off. We're just gonna have a look. We're selling down. Just getting squawk up. Anything. Iran security forces say they discovered Israeli spike anti-tank guided missiles in the country. I'm just gonna talk to the guys here on the analyst desk and see if they have anything. Okay, so that seems to be the spike anti-tank guided missiles found in Iran by Iran security forces, and we're just coming off a little bit there on oil. It's not nothing hugely interesting, I have to say. Yeah, nothing hugely interesting. So we'll get back to the rundown here. And looking at the VWAP report for this week, there's quite a few movements going on. But the big show this week is going to be the FOMC Wednesday. They are not expected to make any change whatsoever to the policy rate. There's quite a bit of detail here on what is coming through the week, and then just a smattering of earnings. And then for the paid subscribers, we kind of get into the macro situation below, and the trade charts are listed in there as well, and quite a lot of interesting movements ahoy on silver, particularly the COT looks pretty interesting on silver. It is as you would expect on oil. But yeah, looking at oil to kick off here, and what we got was about a 13.9% push up on Friday over the course of the day, and most of it was actually then just settling back down. But if we go in, it's quite a dirty chart, but we can hide, say, for example, the we're going to hide the quarterly here. So we just spiked into a level seen here back last in 2021. And this was the high of it was probably Q1, 2, and 3. It was a summer high in 2021 in July around the 8th there. And so, we're just kind of tipped into that on Friday. And you see now from the electronic reopen, we are pulling back here. So where can we pull back to? Well, I was just talking about this with the guys. I think we can easily come back to QP val 68.42s. So if we kind of, we hide all this crud, and then we just hide that and go naked here and look at the quarterly auction. It's quite a easy stretch of the imagination. Or it's not too much of a stretch of the imagination, I should say, to pull back to the QP val there, and even Q plus one, which would be 60, 66.80. So just the light sunlight on my screen here. So yeah, that's oil. A lot of these time spreads as well going really crazy, like the front month spread hitting a $4 handle. I think at one point, I think it was four, certainly a high in the threes. Um, you gotta really know where you're at when you're trading on the front spread, and know where to take your stops, but
Just
also
one to
when
be
to
aware
scale
of. Do you
into
know
these moves.
Israel's El Al Israel Airlines says it extends flights suspension through June 23rd.
Okay, so just more coming across the squawk here, but yeah. So yeah, oil just taking it back. It's down 2% here. It was gapped up last night. I think it went up about 5%. It's just under 5% on the gap up. I think it was closer to 4% on the move up there. So, we're pulling back right now. Equities, on the other hand, are up, up, up and away. Now today is the roll date for the S&P 500, and so the charts posted in the report as of yesterday are now not going to need to roll to September as the front month, and we are trucking here on the S&P above, looking just resistant on the highs of last week here. But this looks like we can easily do a hop, skip, and a jump, 1.4% to the all-time highs, and I suspect this here on last Wednesday, given that this is a news failure on softer than expected CPIs, I think there's going to easily be some bigwigs who can get tipped out of the market and flushed out stopped out if we tip over here. So they're buying the dip. Someone on Twitter was saying, there could be a nuclear war commencement, and they would still just buy this dip and sell the dollar, and that really sums up the markets we're in at the moment. Um, strong as a bull. So Trump earlier, about 30 minutes ago, coming out with his own telecoms network. So AT&T shares getting a wallop at the moment in the pre-market. Other markets to kind of look at, nat gas. You're seeing here this resistance zone. You can see that we've had in the latter 2 months here, really just no exception for current price action on the reopen. We tipped into there and we're just resistant, but holding Q plus one at the moment, which is quite a big level. So we're going to see. I am involved here right now. I'm not sure if we want to stay involved for too much longer, but there is a big gap here of about 2.5% to close here on that gas, maybe 3%. Was the opening price? No, it's about 2.4%. So can we fall back into the Q half deviation and then go bid? I think so. I think you want to be on the right side of gas here, and I think you want to be looking longs. Is that long today? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. And actually, I'm just going to flatten position here because I don't want to be involved in any of this. Um, and what else? Yeah, gold. Gold, no exception to the rule. Nice gap up there on gold. Not a huge one, but we have sort of stepped over the step that is here. You could kind of, get a little area like that, right? We've sort of pushed over that, really, the highs of the 21st of April this year. So, see, we've been, anytime we got below, it ran us back down to like Y plus one, and this sort of step high here put in early April. So that's sort of a Darvis step, right? We push over, pull back. So, Nicholas Darvis would have been buying this break. The turtle traders probably would be buying that break and then rebuying here on the retest, BPB long, and then they're making money on this. And now we've sort of created this step up here. We pushed out. People probably piling into the longs on Friday. We're pulling back. Will it hold? I don't know. I don't know. I think it will. And we should have a new all time high in gold by the end of this week, if not today. So, yeah, you got to stay long. Gold is the long and short of it. And the dollar, just when you think you want to buy the dollar, it collapses, basically. And so, yeah, we can keep going. We need to keep going at 95.17. This is the target. How do we get there? Well, we loaded up a pullback on the short side on the yearly -1 there. Sell it. Okay, so I think if we get a nice close of a day or two below the lows seen back in April 21st, um, this is going to have a nice run on down. So what could do that? Um, just all these countries getting a trade deal paperwork filed and done, probably. Um, and what else? Bonds, kind of uninteresting, unchanged guidance from last week. Yeah, so Nasdaq, for example, It's on the same steroids that Spoos has done. These guys are in the locker rooms, just shooting and juicing, and up we go. New all-time high is just a hop, skip, and a 1.5% jump away. All right, so is it a case where we get new all-time highs and then we fold? I don't know, but I tell you one thing: you're not getting paid to be short in these markets. All right, take it easy out there, be safe, and Wednesday night FOMC, the big wig of the week. Cheers.